Hey guys, it's Mike. Just a quick update. As you may have figured out, Matt is no longer on the show. We've parted ways very amicably. Podcasting's tough, and sometimes there's scheduling issues. There's issues with, who's got the gear, who's available, and we reached the decision that, Matt's moving to Atlanta, so it was best for me to proceed solo with the show. So we thank Matt for his time and his hard work, and please follow him on his social media. Reach out, wish him the best, and we'll see what happens moving forward. All right. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Hello, everybody. It's our 100th episode, and we have a very, very special guest for you today. Just kidding. It's Ian Fidance. How you doing, Ian?
What's up, you motherfucker?
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in on short notice, day
Yes.
of guest. We really appreciate it. Well, I got to tell you, podcasting, I know I've said this a million times and people get on me for it, but it's a complete nightmare.
Yeah, it truly is. It's real
it's
tough to do when you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah, it's a prison.
It really is.
It's a fucking prison.
You're
And
beholden to these things, and then you got to schedule people, and
you have
shit
to bring-
falls out.
You got to bring your friends into it.
And they're
please.
running around town, and then they get stuck on the L train for over an hour just to
Yeah.
come here for a seltzer and a coffee.
Right.
You know?
It's like you factor it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also that's the thing where some of your worst gigs doing comedy where like you break even or you lose money.
Yeah.
You start factoring in like
Oh, totally.
the seltzer that they gave you.
Totally. Oh my god. Dude, there was this one place,
The
comedy.
tissues that you beat off into.
Have you ever done Comedy Cove in Jersey?
I was like booked there and then I like pissed off the guy. And
Oh,
then,
yeah,
that's the
I
one in
pissed them off.
Springfield, right?
I don't know where in Jersey it is, but I'd
happened
done
was
it a couple times.
Yeah, because they booked me for like a few months in advance, and then I guess they thought that like I never confirmed, but they did offer like I have an email of them offering me a date, and then that date finally rolled around and I wasn't on the thing, and I was like, what is this? Like you guys owe me, and do you see Alan, Dr. Allen?
No, I never saw Dr. Allen.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
You
I
seem
couldn't
like a
get down
Dr.
with that.
You seem like a Dr. Allen guy.
No way.
Who's your therapist?
She's at the center I go to
Okay.
in Chelsea. It's fucking
I
the
just
best.
pegged you for a Dr. Allen guy. 'cause
No way,
everybody
man.
else
I
goes
hate how
What do you hate
everyone
about
has
it?
the same therapist. It's so weird. Just talking to this oracle of everyone's demons.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like he'll bring up other clients. He doesn't mention them by name,
Insane.
but there's times when like you know who he's talking about.
Insane.
Yeah.
Totally insane. Could not do it.
Yeah.
My paranoia would go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
My anxiety of like, and then I've heard people like pitch bits to him
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, I made Alan laugh. It's like, oh my God, I'm sorry you don't have a father.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like he's kind of funny.
Is he? You go to him?
I did. I saw him a few times. Yeah.
Wow,
I,
what'd you
can't afford to keep.
I went
going.
to lower tier Alan. There
Who's
was
that?
an Alan downtown Alan.
Yeah.
And he took sliding scale.
I think a lot of people go to that guy, right?
he
Don't
took
they?
sliding scale,
Yeah.
but he was a real jerk off to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, I was like just getting sober again. And, like, I don't know if you have ever gotten sober, but it's like a thing where you're just like, everything sucks. I'm a fucking raw tooth in a wind tunnel, And I'm just in there and I'm like, I can't get a hold of anything. Everything is just bad, And he goes, I want to tell you. I was diagnosed HIV positive in 1981, and I've been living with AIDS ever since. And when you start to get upset and want to whine and complain, just remember, I have AIDS. I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to AIDS guilt me right now?
Yeah.
What?
It's not really what I'm paying for.
Yeah, fuck you for minimizing whatever I'm going. Sure, certainly I don't have AIDS, but I got problems too, dickhead.
Yeah.
Is that why your fucking bones are hanging off your face?
Right.
You fucking jerk off?
Right.
But thank you for charging me $20
You're
a
like,
session.
okay, boomer. Yeah, I went to the fucking Wegmans yesterday, the new Wegmans, and I was a little.
There's a Wegmans in your neighborhood now?
It's in like the Navy Yard, I guess, is the neighborhood. It's like if you go down. You
had to travel far for it.
You go down. You go down
Oh,
Flushing
you got
Avenue.
a car. You got it
I got a car.
made.
I
You
got
can
a
go to
car. I
Costco.
took
You can
Deb
go to
to vote.
Wegmans. You can go to Zabar's.
Where's Zabar's?
Zabar's is Upper West Side.
Okay.
Yeah, real good old Jewish grocery store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay. I'll check it out. It's probably pricey though.
It's all right, but it's like everything is homemade right there.
Okay.
Old, like, Jewish challah bread and everything, and like the meats are just so great. And they have they make their own like cream cheese spreads. Everything is made in house that you think you'd like. They don't even sell Philadelphia cream cheese. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Everything's made. It's really, really. You go in there, and it's just like like such a good smell. You just feel so much like warmth and allergies.
Have you ever been to a Wegmans?
Yeah, I think one.
Yeah. I have a relationship with Wegmans. It was my first job.
Oh.
They opened one, I think, in like 2001 in Princeton.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in and I was like, this is the greatest place
really?
I've ever been to. Yeah,
Why?
It's beautiful. It's just this like world class, like just nice.
Huh.
Nice supermarket. And I'll tell you what, they opened now within 3 years after that Wegmans opening, they opened a world class ShopRite. I worked there too though.
Yeah.
After Wegmans sent me back to the front end. And they opened a Whole Foods. Maybe like a half a mile up the road.
Wegmans did.
Yeah.
Wegmans own these.
No. They just
like the people in town.
Yeah. Now this was like pre-Amazon Whole Foods.
Gotcha.
But I'll tell you what, between those two, I mean, it's still going strong.
Why?
It's just a good shopping experience, and
How?
the prices are good. It's like I don't know. It's I don't want to say artisan, but it's they have like a good bakery, good produce. It's like. I don't even want to call it upscale because the prices are pretty much because you go to like some hood grocery store. I mean, excuse my
what, like Key Foods?
Get canceled
Or like Associated?
You go to some shitty grocery store, yeah, and there's it's the same. You can still get ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really believe in that. You got to just be smart how you shop.
Yeah, I mean, I just grew up going to Acme. There was like an Acme in my neighborhood. We just go there.
Are they a little pricey?
No, they're cheap, but it's not like, I mean, I guess it's I'm not understanding what sets Wegmans apart. Is it just the nostalgia for you?
I don't know if we're getting
or
into
is it
boring
like
territory
intrinsically
here.
Better than everywhere else?
I mean, it's just good. There's like a cheese shop. There's an olive bar. I know a lot of grocery stores have this, but it's just I don't know. It's just done. It's just done well. It all comes together well, and it's always on the list of like good companies to work for.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
So what do you think about this new Wegmans?
It's nice.
You like it?
But Wegmans is like a suburban thing. It's like I'm visiting my parents. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to go to the shopping center. I'm going to go to Home Depot. I'm going to go to Wegmans and just wander around for a little bit, get all my groceries. I don't really like the idea of it being in the city because I don't like to contribute to like what I feel is New York becoming like a suburb. So
you felt guilt going to Wegmans?
Yeah. Cause think about like your New York, like where do you do grocery shopping?
Yeah, I go to Key Food.
Yeah, I go to Food Bazaar.
Mm-hmm.
That's like but Food Bazaar is like it's smelly. You get yelled at.
Yeah. Or I go to Brooklyn Harvest. That's good.
Where's that? Oh, that's on Union.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I've been to Associated, and that's a mess. But they did like a revamp in my neighborhood. It's like really. It looks really nice, but the food is still like after a day your meat will go green. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like green meat that they just spray paint like red. Right.
You get it home and it's smelly.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, like the vegetables are always dirty.
Yeah.
Like
they give you 100 plastic bags.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you get like like salad or whatever, and it's all like just brown and whatever. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
this is terrible. But Key Foods is okay. They actually last year I decided to make myself a roast chicken for Christmas.
Okay,
and I went to Key Foods, and the guy there helped me out. Dinner for one.
You spent Christmas alone?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm from Jersey. Don't do that.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you. But
that's nice though. That is kind of nice.
I made myself.
It's kind of punk rock.
Is it?
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because my birthday is December 31st.
Oh, okay.
So I go home like the weekend before or like after, and then spend like a good like 4 or 5 days home.
Nice.
But going home on Christmas and stuff, I don't know. It's I don't really like it. Plus, working in the city, it's holiday pay and everything, which is great.
Oh yeah.
So So I was like working every night, which was good. But getting I roasted a chicken, and the guy helped me pick out spices. He was like telling me what to do.
Associated?
No, at Key Food.
Oh, Key Food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I love anywhere I go making like a friend, and like my pharmacist is we always talk and go back and forth. He knows about you know what I mean. Like
Does
I
he have
very
AIDS
much.
too?
Huh?
Does he have AIDS too?
Yeah. Vivek, I'm sorry, I'm blowing up your spot. But I love my neighborhood because I've very much, I know everyone is very comfortable. Just like when I was in Delaware, like I loved going places and seeing like familiar places.
Yeah.
Like that makes me feel very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I would hate to feel like it's very lonely when you don't have any familiarity around.
Sure.
Which is just how I feel. Which is why I can imagine Wegmans is so good for you. Because it feels familiar and nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't know if we should be supporting this type of stuff.
Why?
Because New York is just becoming like a suburb.
So what do you do?
It's like it would be the equivalent of if they opened up like a Wawa. Would you be excited for a Wawa in New York? I feel like I would be like that. Wawa is like a special thing when you leave the city.
Right, but it's like, what else are you gonna do? What, they're opening up a Wegmans, so you're like, well, no, I should just keep eating spoiled meat from Associated. That'll show them. It's like, what? What are we doing?
Yeah. I guess you got to adapt.
Yeah.
I just get nostalgic for because you've lived here long. I get nostalgic for like old New York stuff.
Yes.
I said this last week. I got nostalgic for like a smelly cab.
Yes.
You walk into like a Muslim's cab, and it smells like shit.
Dude, I got into an old white guy's cab, and I tipped him so much. For keeping it up, for being an old blue collar whitey.
There's like 4 left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I got in a cab the other night, and the guy was He and I had such a good talk about like the marathon and everything, and he's like, "I ain't going."
The old white.
This is an old black guy, but like straight up American black, not like Nigerian or anything. He's like, "Man, I'd run the marathon, but I gotta go to church." I go, "You can run up the aisle for the gifts, huh?" And he goes, "You know about the gifts?" Because I guess he thought I was Jewish.
Yeah.
I was like, every day's a gift when you got the Lord. He was like, "Amen, that's right." And he put his hand through the back. We high-fived. It was great.
I had an old black Uber driver in Chicago, and he was telling me that he like used to play basketball. He was like an older guy with a ponytail, and he told me that he like invented trash talk, basically. Like he's like, yeah, you just say some stuff on the court to kind of get inside the guy's head a little bit.
I invented
He's like, I invented that. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's like,
oh my God.
He's like, I used to play with Isaiah Thomas, Maurice Cheeks.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm like, yeah, what kind of stuff would you say? And he's like, well, basically, you just go down to the guy's school and find out what his mother or sister's name is. And then when you're on the court, you go, hey, let's say the girl's name is Charlene. You're like, had a good time with Charlene last night.
Oh, my God.
And he said that Maurice Cheeks would get really mad, like get really upset. And then he was like, but Isaiah Thomas, he was just like, oh, yeah, you should let me know. I'll next time we'll run a train or something. Something like that, yeah. But,
that's so funny.
And then I had
You think he was telling the truth?
I think he was. I don't think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, I was in jail, and this guy was going on and on about how R. Kelly didn't write I Believe I Can Fly. It was written by a crackhead, Manhattanville Projects.
Oh, yeah?
And he was going on and on with these
stories. It is a very
stories.
crackhead song.
You think?
Yeah. Can't you could just picture, like, somebody...
Like, oh, I believe I can fly now!
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he was going on and on and on. It was that thing where like when they have that just the fluorescent lights on the ceiling. The metal bench that you sit on is maybe like 6-7 inches wide, so you can't even lay down on it. You gotta lay half your body on and put your leg on the ground so you can like lay down, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I was trying to sleep, Yeah. And he's just going off. Everyone in the cell's quiet. He's like, I'm telling you, R. Kelly, he the one that wrote. He didn't write I Believe I Can Fly. It was a crackhead, Manhattanville Project. One time, I swear, I started smoking crack. Gang member put Tech 9. You know Tech 9? We used to have them all in the day. Don't have no Tech 9 no more. So now we got a Tech 9 back then. And he put it to my chest. 9? It's like a Uzi.
Okay.
And he goes, put it to my chest. He said, smoke this crack rock. So I said, all right, I don't want to die, so I smoked dick to the rest of my life. And he just kept going on and on. And I go, shut the fuck up. You're the crackhead in the Manhattanville Projects. No drug dealer gives people crack and makes them smoke it.
Yeah.
And he was like, the fuck you say? And I immediately go, look, man, I'm really tired. I'm sorry.
Nice.
I thought I was going to get my ass beat. Oh, my God. I was so scared.
I saw a tweet today that said that that's going to be a word that you can't use in 2020.
What?
Crackhead.
Shut up.
Yeah, he said words that people are going to be held accountable for. It was like crackhead, cunt, retard, lame, and then something else.
Who are these people?
I don't know who these people are.
Well, I talked to an addiction specialist last night. She said that they're trying to no longer use the term alcoholic or addict or the word like disorder. Mm-hmm. And say like,
what do you call it? Stealer of your mother's purse.
yeah. Walmart greeter.
Yeah. Liar. They just call it liar.
Yeah. Thief.
Yeah.
We're not using the word alcoholic any longer. We're using absent father. And she was telling me, I'm like, what the fuck? And she's like, because it gives a negative connotation. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
You're giving me a headache. I feel sick.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, let's get into the theme of the show since it's almost over. That was fun, though.
Do you want to talk about Zaybars again?
I really do. So Ian and I were having one of our classic chats today, one of our classic text chats where we talk about social issues, politics, whatever the case may be, and we sort of we came to the conclusion that there's private prisons in this country.
Yes.
We were like, we can do a whole episode about private prisons, about people being sent to jail for money. So I found this article. This is from Investopedia. A public prison is one that is completely owned by the government. This means they have to provide the prison building, staff the guards and administration, and oversee all the prisoners and everything that happens in the prison. Even with a public prison, many of the services are outsourced to private contractors such as food service, cleaning services, and maintenance. With a private prison, many of the burdens are taken off the government and put onto a private company. Instead of all the business that goes along with running a prison, the government simply has to supply the prisoners and oversee the prison. Now that begs the question of how a for-profit prison makes money. So, yeah, seems like a pretty, prisons, they're government contracted. Mm-hmm. You have somebody that, I guess, builds them, and then the government pays the money to send prisoners there.
Yes. Under the auspice of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Let's punish them for their actions and rebuild them to put them out in society so that they don't return to these walls of shame.
Right. And of course the goal is to getting them out.
Yes.
Especially when you're making lots of money off of them.
Well, that's where private prisons come in, where their goal is to house the prisons because they make more money.
Yeah.
So there's no rehabilitation, no step-down program, no any form of righting the wrongs of these people's past.
Right.
Because if you do that, they're not going to come back to prison.
Right. It's just completely like behind a desk. Let's look at the numbers. Let's maximize profit. Let's cut costs. So this was kind of interesting because I feel like doing this show, a lot of stuff that we talk about, it's like, I've said this a lot. You do have to understand like big money. Like you have to think about the massive amounts of money that a lot of these corporations are making, but I also feel like you kind of have to look at big money in like a small way. Like you have to look down sort of the tube and go, okay, what is actually happening here at like what's the word? Like a micro level. So what I'm saying is like, okay, these prisons are like these billion-dollar companies, but this was from this article. Let's suppose that it costs $100 a day to house a prisoner, assuming full capacity, all administration costs. And the prison building can hold 1,000 inmates. A private prison can offer their services to the government and charge $150 per day per prisoner. Generally speaking, the government will agree to these terms if the $150 is less than if the prison was publicly run. That spread is where the private prison makes their money. So you have a company being like, okay, it's a markup. So yeah, if a prison can mark up a prisoner $50 per day, that means their prison could theoretically earn $50,000 per day in a prison that houses 1,000 inmates. If they can land another contract with the government to build a prison in the neighboring state, they could start earning an additional $50,000 per day by maxing out that prison. By going public, they see a sudden influx of money. These are these companies now they're publicly traded. They see a sudden influx of money that would allow them to build that second prison. So I guess no good. Like, it seems like a good idea.
Why would that be a good idea ever?
To have, because then it's
take
like
the burden off the government.
To take the burden off the government.
Oh, so then the government can ignore large portions of the population more freely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they don't have to be tied up with this mess. They can go, just completely fuck other people in other, realms of society.
Yeah. So then you start thinking about so it's crazy to think about the way that these people are going to cut costs.
Mm-hmm.
The way they're going to be like, well, I don't know if we need to pay the guards $23 an hour. We can probably get away with 19, 18, and then gradually start, and they can cut cleaning services. They can it's just a lot. It doesn't seem like there's any ethics or morals that come into this, because it's like
totally. And these people aren't human to the people making these decisions.
Right.
There are numbers and names on a piece of paper and dollar signs. Mm-hmm. And when you turn people into paperwork, they no longer become human. Mm-hmm. Just like when police officers are constantly ticketing people, they're no longer human. They're paperwork.
Yeah.
Which is why I think, this might be whatever, but I think public servants, I think civil servants, I think they should all be rotated every, 5 to 8 years, so that they have some form of humanity and perspective on what they're doing. So what they're dealing with doesn't become so monotonous that the people they're dealing with lose their personhood.
Yeah. Tim Dillon explains to me one time, he was like, you ask the average person, you're like, hey, you're like a good guy, right? You like people. And he's like, okay, now look at that map on the wall. All those dots are people. And if you press this button, those dots will disappear and you'll make some money. You could do it, because you don't have to look them in the face.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
And what?
So
and people do it?
I think most people.
Or are you saying that's what
it.
happens with private prisons or people that have money to be made off of other people?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not even a.
Right. It's like playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and making the roller coaster go off and just killing these little Sims.
Right.
And
you're like, well,
I got to come somehow.
Right. Yeah. It is weird to think about that, though. Like I don't know, me and you will probably never have that level of power, but if we did have it, what we would, Well,
I wonder if it's a complete level of power of someone being aware of it, or if it's such a trickle-up effect that people along the line don't realize the gravity and magnitude of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because imagine having a huge company and you're just looking at the numbers and you're like, I got to pay these people fucking health insurance.
Yeah, and they probably don't have private prison citizen fuck-up lifer job title. It's probably administrative of insurance to the correctional debutante facility of Montgomery County,
right,
or something like that, where they get to kind of lie to themselves and be like, oh, I'm just like a comptroller. I'm not really a person that's completely fucking someone's life.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like it's chain of command. Yeah. You at the end of the day, you're doing what you need to do to keep your job, put money in your pocket, put braces on your kids' teeth, send your daughter to college so that they don't have to have this soul-sucking job that you have.
Right. And
if people have to die and have a hellacious life because of it, well, I'm not going to think about it, because that's going to make my job harder.
Right.
And it's a shame and it sucks, but also a lot of these people are just listening to the people above them and they don't want to lose their job. Mm-hmm. And then there are these CEOs that are just fucking bloodsuckers that don't even care. They could be aware of it. And then they don't even work, 100 days a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they don't even really know what's going on, or they just fucking detach so much that they just allow it to happen and don't care. Mm-hmm.
Here's a crazy thing too. A lot of these private companies, they have contracts. They have what's what's the word, like stipulations or the terms in their
like
contracts?
addendums?
Yeah, saying that they have to keep, like the state has to keep the prison as, like, at a certain capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And the state of Arizona was fined like $3 million.
Oh yeah, that's like a big tent city too with the prisons where they just have gymnasiums full of cots stacked on top of each other to keep prisoners in to make money.
Yeah. This is a big thing too with those detention centers. Those at the border.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people go like people don't understand that someone is making money from this, from family separation, from That's why I don't smoke weed. The last time I smoked weed, I was like, kids are being ripped away from their mothers at the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, dude, get high and watch a fucking Lockup Raw on MSNBC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talk about private prisons. We're talking about these, numbers and making money, whatever. But it's like, if you truly think it, like, when you do the road and you're driving through a town, you're like, wow, that's a fucking prison. Oh, look over there. That's a prison. That's a prison. You're driving on a road free to go where you want.
Because some of your family's in there.
yeah. Well, for you.
God bless.
You pass a prison, I pass a graveyard.
Yeah. Right.
So fucking that is a whole different galaxy of life that is existing within that building that we could never even fathom.
Yeah.
The complexities and complete massive hell that those people are living on a day-to-day basis in this concrete, complete, just massive universe.
Yeah.
That is so not related to ours.
Yeah.
That you have to, as a human, adapt to. You have to change your whole way of living to survive. And you're in that for years and years and years, and this becomes your reality to the point where who you were gets stripped away.
Yeah.
And then now we have this push to, expunge records, drug offenses, get them out of jail, welcome back, I support you. And they're like, well, I'm going to rob you because I know no other way to live.
Right.
So
you're saying they should just be shot?
Yeah, and televised and sponsored by Big Prison. Sponsored by the people that sell the tents to the tent cities.
Man, but there was nothing like...
No, there needs to be massive step-down units, and prison psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, doctors, they all need a massive pay raise so that more people will go into that field, because good people go into these fields like teaching, working in prisons, psychiatry and everything, and they quit because there's no money to be made, and then the people suffer because of it.
Yeah.
And it's terrible.
But that's the crazy thing is, like, everybody who's like a small government, type is like, do they know that the state paid a $3 million fine for not keeping the fucking prison full? That's insane.
I mean, give an example of someone who's like small government and wouldn't.
I don't understand. Like, people
that.
complain people like my parents complain all the time that
the government has too much overreach.
They're like, oh, they waste so much money, and it's like, yeah, they're paying a private company $3 million because they didn't send enough.
Well, they get more money is allocated to keep someone in prison than it is to pay for a child to go to public school, which is totally insane.
Right.
Totally insane.
Right.
That keeping someone locked up is sucking more funds out of us than it is to put a kid in school and give them supplies, an iPad and all this shit.
Well, Kamala Harris says we need to keep people locked up because they're dangerous.
Is that what she said? Was that before or after she got like a snickerdoodle puppy?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
That disgusts me so much. She's doing a fireside chat at UCB.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah. I don't think my brain like processed that when I read that tweet.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
We have to be living in some sort of weird
alternate, like hell
thing
world.
Where like something is snapped and everything that's happening is just such a comedically bad break in the matrix.
Why UCB? The one in L.A.? The one on Franklin in L.A.? That place is small.
Yeah, but also,
but it's gonna be
why UCB that is a terrible business structure that ends up fucking poor people and rewarding people with a promise of a career that can afford it anyway.
It could just be birds of a feather.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that the name of the improv troupe that's going to perform to open up?
But the same way that like shitty bad comics like find each other and hang out and do shows together.
Right.
Maybe there's something about because me and you hear UCB and we go, oh yeah, fuck that place. That place sucks. Right. Maybe there's something about that like appeals to her, or I don't know. She's probably
a bunch of fucking privileged losers.
She probably got Amy Schumer's kid out of jail or something. What's the deal with
privatized prisons? What's the deal with the public school to prison pipeline? One day you're in school, which is a prison, and then you go to prison, and that's a prison. Did you ever get out? How many kids are worth a pack of cigarettes in prison?
I didn't come here to get raped. I just want to do my time. Bam, 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 bam. Seinfeld. Actually, they did that on SNL.
Jerry, I sold you for a pack of cigarettes.
They did that on SNL when SNL was funny. They did it was a sketch where Jerry Seinfeld went to Oz. And they did the masturbation episode, but it was we're taking bets on who can go the longest without committing male rape. And they're like, I'm out.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great.
That's funny.
That's so funny.
That's funny.
I don't care who you are. That's funny right there.
If you're someone who's offended by that, why don't you go form your own country? Because we were having a fucking great time before you showed up.
Yeah. If you're offended by that, you need to get prison.
Because who's all the people that's offensive to? That's offensive to gays. Because it's the way they. And then it's offensive.
Do they really care? Do people really care? No.
But I'm saying you couldn't put that on TV now.
No, it's just a pull to have a personality so you seem interesting.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. These people really care.
Yeah.
You think there are people still protesting fucking Shane? No, they fucking forgot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. People are just upset for one day because it gives them something to focus on instead of their shitty own life.
But that's also offensive to people who are in prison. That I guess. Then they're making light out of people going to prison.
Okay, yeah, get mad at that, but then don't get mad at when someone goes to prison. Someone goes, have fun with your cellmate Bubba, insinuating that you're going to get raped by a black dick, and that's what you deserve for your crime.
No, but
that's okay,
offensive.
but then getting offended at a fucking sketch is you're righteous for it?
No, but they would say that's offensive, too.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
Who are these straw men we're making up?
I don't know.
But isn't that funny, though, that's totally acceptable to say is for people to be like, well, I hope you have fun getting raped in prison. And everyone's like, that's it.
I would say that's not acceptable to say. Who says that's acceptable to say?
I think that's totally acceptable to say. If a man kills a child, the number one response is, I hope he gets raped in jail. And everyone suspends their disbelief that rape is bad.
Enjoy a foot long in jail.
Yeah. And then they all agree that rape is good when it's in a punishment towards another man.
Yeah. But I have to admit, Subway Jared telling him to enjoy a foot long in jail. That was funny for 10 minutes.
Who did that?
Everybody. The New York Post did it. My dad sent it.
Oh my God, did they?
Hey, I thought you might like this.
Did they? That's so funny.
And then Earthquake. I brought up Earthquake at Caroline's one night.
No way.
Yeah, and he did it too.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It was on the cover of the New York Post.
That's incredible, dude. You know what happened the other night? Jesus Christ. So this warmed my fucking heart. Because I feel like it with the push for diversity, it's a very safe diversity, and nobody wants true
it's
fucking
diversity on their terms.
Yes, it's nobody wants real.
I'll put it this way: it's never like Yamanika.
Yeah, it is. People love Yamanika.
Yeah, but she's not getting the shine. She's not getting the shine that she should be getting.
I think she is. But a lower tier Yamanika, a darker skinned Yamanika, a black comic that calls women females, that's not getting the shine because they want to act like that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Yeah. I saw a fucking comic the other night.
Well, they don't want someone who's problematic, I guess. But I'm saying she should have more shine for how funny
right,
she
but
is.
Totally. Yamanika's the funniest. She's completely unfollowable.
Yeah.
But what's great about Yamanika is that it's inspiring because she's been around for so long and it keeps coming back to where she's hot again. Goes away. She's hot again. You know what I mean? Which is just be fucking funny and keep at it and shit will pop again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that they want a distilled Hannibal Buress as opposed to a Def Jam comic.
Of course.
Who is truly living a real fully formed life they don't want that. They want someone that's like, here's a bit about video games and refrigerators.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to make you feel bad about being white.
But that's the thing too. I mean, those guys still probably say problematic things, but I don't know why we're not giving people more leniency to say problematic.
Well, the thing is, denying that is to say that problematic things are only for a certain segment of the population. Everyone says problematic things. There's a whole circuit of stand-up that's based on ignorant, like the Chitlin circuit is so problematic.
Yeah.
Like if a hippy-dippy fucking blue-haired, like androgynous open micer went to a fucking hookah gig in the South Bronx, their brain would melt.
Yeah.
They'd walk in and be like, oh my God, look at this celebrated diversity. Dominicans, blacks, all together, men and women, yes. And then a black guy would go on stage and be like, y'all notice how trannies' Adam's apples stick out longer than they dicks? And their fucking head would explode.
Yeah.
It's like a legitimate joke that was said when I did a fucking hookah lounge a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we shouldn't glorify like ignorance, but I think what people don't realize is like at a lot of those rooms, people are like in on the joke when sort of quote unquote problematic things are being said. It's like we all know that it's wrong. We all do have a sense of right and wrong.
Right, but
like,
also
yeah, you're right.
Within that community, there's a mass amount of homophobia and transphobia that's like completely denied. You know.
Sure.
But what I was saying earlier was that I saw such a throwback to like a Def Jam comic.
Well, if you want to talk about it, be my fucking guest, Ian.
What?
You should tweet it right now.
What? That there's homophobia in the black community?
Yeah, tweet it.
Well, I mean, you know, an article just came out that another black trans woman was killed in Philly, and it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
You know, what are the statistics on that? But they won't tell us.
Yeah.
But dude,
what's up with these people not telling us when they got dicks?
So I saw this comic, dude.
I'm trying to have sex at a Wawa,
dude. I've been there, buddy.
Yeah.
So this guy goes, y'all, I'ma say it how it said, and y'all gonna listen because I'm up here with the microphone, and God can say whatever I want. God damn it. I was in a strip club. There was a retarded stripper. You know how I got rid of her? I gave her a knife and asked her who was special. And he goes, me, and everyone's like, what the fuck? And he's like, I told you I was going to say it, y'all. And I was like, this fucking rules.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible. It was horrible. That's like a second grade stock joke. But the fact that he believed that it was his and funny, and to see everyone's horrified look, I was just cackling in the back. It was amazing. You don't seem too thrilled by that story. You seem nervous.
I guess it's not that funny.
Oh.
But that's all right.
Yeah.
But were people laughing or were they?
No, everyone was nervous. Well, you mean what he said wasn't funny or what I said wasn't funny?
Yeah, I don't think his bit.
No, I don't think it was funny either. I was laughing, ironically, that he would think that was like a fresh, funny thing to say. Like,
oh, right.
I was like, wow, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
But it was just funny to see that because I hadn't seen anything like that in a while.
Yeah.
You know.
I just want no part of this business anymore.
Yeah?
It's too hard.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think the hard is what makes it worth it.
Done trying to figure this out.
Spoken like a true
I have like
gay
3
man.
decent bits. Me?
No, me. The hard is what makes it worth it.
Right.
You have 3 decent bits for the show?
Just in general.
Oh.
Anyway, so so basically, I think what happens is people are sort of filtered in through these private prisons. The state will say, "Hey, we need more people in here," and then there's harsher convictions. And I feel like it's all people of color.
Yeah.
It's usually not, like the justice system is pretty. I'll say it's pretty whack.
Well, I agree,
it's biased.
But I would also add that it's people of low economic status, which in cities the majority are black.
But they say that they do it to poor white people too. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, the rates have to be higher among,
Well, I mean, look up the stats, I guess. But I mean, it's poor people, but mostly black, and Hispanic, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Like a system has been put up where they just see dollar signs on these people and they nab them, put them in jail, and then the dollar sign goes in someone's pocket.
Yeah.
Let's make it so that when they get out, they can't have a regular life, and then we'll make money off of them twice.
Right.
You know?
I really do like looking at the past, and especially the recent past, because things change so much. Like, not that we're that great now, but do you remember in like the '90s? We've done an episode about this. If you look at like the early '90s to like early 2000s, there was sort of this like attitude, and the end of the end of this era makes me think like the movie Crash, which I bring this movie up a lot, but it's like a where it was like these attitudes where it's like we're gonna get really tough on crime, take a bite out of crime. They passed all these laws that were like super fucked up, and then it was almost like marginalized communities were being blamed for their own like oppression in a lot of ways, where people were like, yeah, it's just, it's sad, the cycle of poverty. There's no parents. There's no whatever. I don't know. Just I feel like those attitudes are like interesting to me because I feel like they're not acceptable anymore, but they were pretty ubiquitous back then.
Right. Well, the tough on crime thing, that kind of started in the 50s, 60s, and 70s with the Rockefeller drug laws in New York City.
Okay.
There's this book called The Black Silent Majority by Michael Fortner.
Okay.
Which is really interesting because it talks about how crime and drugs were so bad.
Yeah.
In these.
That is the thing we forget sometimes too. That was pretty bad.
I mean, dude,
watch movies. Yeah.
Talk to an old New Yorker. They will tell you shit that'll turn you white.
Really?
Just in terms of like how truly bad. And I was talking to someone the other day about Williamsburg. They said maybe even late 90s, early 2000s, it was just packs of dogs running around.
Really?
Flattened buildings, rubble, packs of dogs. Like Grand Street in Williamsburg, it was a dividing line. If you were white, you didn't go past it, and if you did, you got the shit kicked out of you. If you were black, or if you were Puerto Rican, you didn't go past Grand Street, you get the shit kicked out of you. And then if you were black, you didn't go past like Broadway, and then the Puerto Ricans didn't go past Broadway. So it was like you stayed in these areas.
Puerto Ricans didn't go past Broadway. Right.
Like it was
it's still pretty segregated.
I mean, New York City is the most segregated public school system in the country, which is insane because we live in this liberal bubble of like we're all together,
Right.
But it's like not true
But when you go to that area, you're right. It is like above Grand Street. It's all Italian.
Yes.
And then below, between Grand and Broadway, it's pretty much all Puerto Rican.
That's all like new, the mixture and everything. But dude, Williamsburg was a fucking nightmare. And then dude, the South Bronx in the 70s was fucking rubble. Yeah. And Carter tried to like fix it or whatever, and he got kicked out when he didn't win again. Reagan stood in the rubble and goes, "See, this is what a liberal government does."
Jesus.
Yeah. And that was around the same time prior with, again, back to the Rockefeller drug laws, with these black working class families. Grandmas were getting robbed. Kids were getting shot on the street. People were robbing laundromats, drugstores, fucking hardware stores, just indiscriminately crime everywhere. And black people were like, do whatever you have to do. Get rid of it. We don't want our families to live in fear anymore. Please, please. And they were like massive fans of long-term incarceration.
Yeah.
And then when they found out they could make money off of it, well, it was too late. They just changed everything to fucking start making money. But initially, a lot of black working class families were like, dude, yes, please, whatever you got to do.
So there was a point where they were like, it's so bad,
you
got to do something. And maybe go as extreme as you have to.
Yeah. Well, dude, New York City had to be bailed out. What'd they say on the cover of the Post? New York City dropped dead.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was fucking...
And then Giuliani saved it.
Yeah, thank God.
Well, you know what's funny? I worked for this moving company like a long time ago, and it was like a big company. They would do like big office moves and stuff, and we were like, it was like 6 a.m. We were driving this job, and I had just moved there, and this one guy who was like probably like a career mover, and he's like, "What neighborhood do you live in?" And I'm like, "I'm in Bushwick," and he's like, "Bushwick, that's black, right?" Like he had all the neighborhoods in his head like divided by.
Right.
That's probably what it was.
Oh, dude, totally.
Chinatown. That's
That's a eggshell white, right? There was because it's like you go to AA and NA, and you're in the thick of like people that are not like you, you know, just like with their background culturally, you know.
Yeah.
and hanging out with a bunch of old drug addicts from like the neighborhood, it's just insane to see them not acclimate to like the safety of the society we live in today. You know, of just like every person they tell a story about has to be let in with what race they are. You know what I mean? Like I was hanging out with Ricky the other day, Puerto Rican from the Avenue, and that has nothing to do with the story, but they have to let you know he's like a Puerto Rican, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, this Japanese girl I was talking to the other day, it's like, what?
But the crazy thing now is like you do a show in Bushwick like today and you mention race and people like tighten up. But it is when you're from the East Coast, that is how people sort of went about their you know, because like it was diverse and it was inclusive, but it wasn't. People were still separated.
It was diverse and it was inclusive. Everyone minded their own fucking business.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now we're looking at a bunch of people that have not had.
But now it's like we're just all people.
Well, no, I feel
we're
like
not all people. Some people sell frogs on the fucking street.
What? You talking about Chinatown again?
Yeah.
Ribbit.
No, but I mean the point that I'm trying to make is that it's dishonest to act like there are not. Yes, everyone is the same and no human being is different or like lesser than.
Right.
But
right.
it's insane to not acknowledge that
Cultural
there are not
differences.
Cultural differences
Yeah.
and like
try coming out of the closet to a Jamaican family. See what happens.
Right.
You know, like what are we doing? You know.
Yeah.
But
try being a woman who wants her pussy eaten with a Jamaican boyfriend. Although I was informed recently on stage that that's a stereotype.
Well, stereotypes exist for a reason.
Well, I said Jamaican guys don't eat pussy, and they were like, "Whoa,
that's not true, man."
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, I think what we're dealing with is a lot of people are coming from very homogenous areas,
sure,
and realizing for the first time ever that there are different lives to be lived, and their massive guilt comes in to where they feel that they have to, in order to erase the transgressions of their past, which they had nothing to do with, it was just a victim of circumstance of where they were born, they have to take a stand and make it be known that they are not like who they were.
Right.
And it's gross and disgusting because then you're not even treating people like people, you're treating them like some form of, you know, almost like a badge of honor that you're like wearing to let people know that you're a part of this inclusive team.
Right.
You know.
But we do. I mean, I think it is good to acknowledge that there are cultural differences between people, and it's like those things should be celebrated. Like for example, like okay, as a mover, I don't like that Indian people have very large beds, but I appreciate their attention to their what's the word? What's the fucking...
Their gold rings.
Yeah, their gold rings and their nice big ass furniture.
Yes, and their multiple frame pictures of Vishnu, but the frame is like terrible and it's just like on loose leaf paper. It's like if this is your god, why is it not protected with glass?
Right.
You know,
like you love yourself. You know, Italians also big furniture.
Oh God, covered in plastic.
Mothers. Chinese people very smart.
Yes.
I don't know.
Blacks, say it.
Oh, come on. We don't have enough time. All the things good music.
Yes. Good low talking communicators.
Very funny.
Yes.
But
very funny.
Great to watch a movie with.
Very, very funny. Hands down, black people are funnier than white people.
Yeah, I know.
It
sucks, right?
It is. That black people enjoy life.
Comedy.
Black people enjoy life more than anyone else on this earth ever will.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact. I mean, a wedding, a funeral, it will be the most fun party you've ever been involved in. And I don't know what that is, but it is.
Yeah. Dominicans, when they want to have sex with you. They don't make it a secret.
They just meet you.
Yeah.
They say
Stick
hello.
Their heads out their car window and yell. You know what kind of music they like.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I think it's disingenuous to act like people that are so culturally tied together are not all going to have similarities that you can notice.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we got to wrap up in a second, but I want to close. I want to close it out with this thing. There was a story out of Pennsylvania, I think Western Pennsylvania, about a judge who was selling juveniles to he was basically farming juveniles to a private prison. This is from the New York Post. Hillary Transu, 14, created a fake humorous MySpace page about her school's vice principal. Justin Bodnar, 12, cursed at another student's mother. Ed Kenzakowski, 17, to nothing at all. It didn't matter. As we see in the documentary Kids for Cash, which all 3 Luzerne County PA teens met the same fate for their minor infractions. They were hauled into court with their parents, sometimes after being persuaded, coerced, according to at least one parent, by police to waive their right to legal counsel. There was a dad who was worried about his son, so him and some cops planted a bowl in his car so his kid would to scare his kid that he was going to go through legal recourse. The kid was sent to jail anyway.
What?
Yeah, did 6 months in jail.
Black, white, what kind of kid?
I think he was white. Yeah, Polish. Kenzakowski. Anyway, so so it was I guess his dad just didn't know what to do, wanted to scare him. Kid gets sent to jail. Kid gets out of jail, goes back to jail. And then ends up shooting himself in the heart, kills himself. So this judge who did all that was sentenced to 28 years in prison, but he was literally, I think he accepted a $2 million bribe, and he was literally farming kids into this juvenile detention center. So
indefensible.
Don't trust anybody out there, guys.
Yeah, I hope he likes his jail cell with Bubba. See what happens.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope he enjoys a foot long in jail.
Yeah, fuck him.
We did a bit one time on the show where we were doing Kamala Harris as a prosecutor, and right before she sentenced people, she's like, "And I hope you enjoy the footlong in jail." That's her closing line. Anyway, all right, I got to go do the show in Hoboken.
So wait, what? You just bring that story up and then you go, "See you later."
Well, yeah, that's an example of people being sent to jail. I got to go. I got shit to do.
I'd like to leave you with this. Yeah. There are monsters walking this earth. They're going to take your kids. Well, this has been the sit-down with Mike Recine.
Watch the documentary, Cash for Kids.
Yeah, it's terrible. Do they have the same theme song as Cars for Kids?
What's that? Yeah. 1877.
Cash for Kids. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
that song's rough, huh?
It is so brutal, and I wonder if those kids have PTSD from having to be in a studio all day just lip-syncing to the same song.
Folks, why are they giving the cars to the kids? Kids can't drive.
Kids can't drive unless you're talking about driving me crazy.
Kids can't drive. All right, everybody. Ian, where can the people see you? Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram at iAnimal. I don't know when this comes out. I'm going to be at Park 16 Theater November 23rd with Jeff Ross and David Tell for Bumping Mics. I got a bunch of shows in New York Comedy Festival.
That's exciting.
In the city. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. I'm with Attell at the end of December, doing the last weekend in December at Caroline's. Come out for that if you're in the city. Got a bunch of dates, ianfidance.com. And thank you for having me, man. This was fun, and I really enjoy our text message arguments back and forth on race, culture, and society.
Yeah, we'll post them on the Patreon.
Oh,
God. Isn't it nice when you follow someone on Twitter and you find out they're a hoe?
What?
Like this girl that I follow.
Uh-huh.
I thought she was just some comedian, but it looks like she's got some nudes up.
Oh. Boy.
Yeah, follow the Patreon.
Stay away. Actually, I think if we posted our conversations, it would we really make good, understanding, valuable points. But I do have a hard time listening, and I'm trying to work on that. All right, good talk. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
No, I'm sorry.
We'll see you next week. Mike's looking at tits at Arna's girlfriend on a phone.
No, that's not true. They don't need to see them. I was admiring her Halloween costume.
Mike's masturbating furiously in his sweatpants. He said he had to get a nut off before he goes to Hoboken. All right, are we done? What is
All right,
this?
let's
You're
go.
staring at a phone.
No, I know.
What? I'm sitting here. It took me an hour to get here, motherfucker.
I'm just looking at this tweet. This guy goes, one expected lesson from the Epstein situation. I all of a sudden appreciate why low-status people would be predisposed to believe Pizzagate-style conspiracies. Sexual abuse of the less powerful is probably something with which they have much better epistemic contact than me.
Yo, do you ever read these tweets and just think the people are saying words that they don't even know what it means?
Absolutely.
Like, dude, I read this
and
it gets so jumbled in my brain. I'm like,
yeah.
There's no way. You're just saying
no way
this
your
to sound
vocabulary
smart.
is this
You're
big.
saying this to sound as
Yes.
a power tactic
Yes,
to
yes,
make
yes.
people reading it feel less than, so they must
can't
agree
stand
with
it.
you.
Dude,
You're
I
a fucking
really-
phony. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Fight
yeah.
me at a Wegmans.
Oh, yeah. I can't stand that. Yeah, that like punditry style of talking. There's a great clip I'm going to send you, and you guys should look at it too. It's Patrice O'Neill on Fox News.
Yes.
And he's talking to Mark Lamont Hill about the Don Imus controversy, and it's like the way that a lot of these intellectuals talk is they go like this, and everything's measured, and everything's blood, and everything's bad, and their vocabulary is really big. And Patrice is talking in such like authentic.
Mm-hmm.
In this authentic way. Yeah, I don't believe these people are that smart. They just adopt this style of speaking where they go, I think it's interesting that, and there's a certain
Didactically speaking, ultimately the lower class has a proclivity of a recidivism rate that is 27% more likely than a cisgendered ostrich.
There's a certain rhythm to the way they talk.
Yeah.
It's very measured, and they probably practiced it 100 times.
Dude, there's a dude on Instagram
fuck these
I
people,
follow
dude.
called
Listen to podcasts,
Power Bottom
baby.
Text, and
Uh-huh.
it's all that shit. And I truly feel that it's a power bully tactic to make people reading it feel less than stupid and to then defer to the person saying it as, well, they must know what they're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so too.
It's horseshit.
Yeah. Support the real users of language.
Support the
support
Real
our
Ass
Patreon.
Podcast.
Sit down. Support Louis J.
Support
Gomez.
Louis J. Gomez. Support the Puerto Rican Rattlesnake, the Joe
Okay.
Jetta comedy.
Sitdownpod@gmail.com, social media. Donate to us on Patreon, patreon.com/sitdownpod. Thank you guys for listening. God bless. Bye-bye.